seen you.
Funny that.
Funny, yeah.
All I managed to
Hey,
catch in that
hi,
last bit
everyone.
was drunken Australians.
Yeah, pretty much. Drunken
Yeah,
Australians.
no, that's pretty much
every
the
Friday at 6.
Except none of us are drunk
Yeah.
at the moment. Oh, you meant on
No.
Friday.
No, I do have beer in the fridge. I could go and get one. It is 1 a.m.
I don't actually have any alcohol here, so. Although I'm sure Stacey would offer some if I was going to get drunk.
I've been drinking Jack and Coke all morning.
You know
You don't
what?
have any either.
Screw it. I'm going to get a beer. I'll be back.
There's no alcohol here.
There's no alcohol there? Oh,
No,
you
I'm going
better
to get some.
You better fix that by Friday.
Oh, yeah, don't worry. I'll have alcohol on Friday.
So how long are you going to be there this stretch?
A week and a half about. Almost as long as last time, actually.
Well, you were, what, 2 weeks last time?
Yeah, just over 2 weeks. Probably
Where's
the
your-
last.
where's your brother?
He's gone to bed.
He was there a minute ago. You were just
Yeah,
late.
he's still not feeling well. So
Oh.
we are live, by the way, people.
Well,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
So,
So
hi, chat. Everyone needs to come over.
watching Pastor dig around in his fridge.
Yeah, everyone needs to come over from
Daily
Oh,
Atheist.
yeah.
I only just realised we're
Yeah,
live.
you know, except for me, who just got off work.
Yeah.
Hey, I've only been off of work for 3 hours now, but I've been on. This is my third stream.
Yeah, I was about to say I've just done 3 in a row as well.
Yeah.
It's, I kind of feel like I'm a YouTube slut today.
Friday I was a YouTube whore.
Yeah, you were, weren't you? Weren't you?
I had my premiere, the Notches stream, then what was it, your show?
Daily Atheist.
The Daily
And you did my
Atheist.
after show.
Then I did your after show. Then I did the shills when I got up. By that time, my knees were going, "You're not doing anymore." No, just not going to happen. But it wasn't the longest I've been on camera. You know, I did 6 streams, but it still was about 4 hours short of my longest set of streams.
Wow.
I'm actually starting to wonder if we all have a problem. You know, is this an addiction? I mean,
Well, I definitely
what
do
is it?
because I should be in bed.
Hey, there's Christians
Hey,
in the
you're 3
chat.
hours behind me.
Hey, Kristen. Hey, Lizzie.
Hey, Bo.
Intellectual Iconoclasm, Doc Pearson, Canadian Cripple,
Oh.
Watchtower, Canadian Cripple, Critical Cripple. There you go. Watchtower Watcher, Math Pig,
Yeah, just
Bull,
Jester. Hey, Carrie.
and Kiri too.
Kristen. Yeah. Wow,
Let me see
got a
Carrie in here.
good crowd down there.
I seen
Hey.
Bull, but I didn't see Kiri, huh?
I haven't. I've been on Bull's stream. Bull has yet to be on one of mine. You want to hop in, Bull?
Dang, come on, man.
He popped in on one night I was on. Was that not one of yours?
Was it?
Yeah, I think he has.
Has Bull's been?
Yeah,
on?
Yeah.
Have
Possibly
you, Bull?
on your
Have you been on one of my
300.
streams, Bull?
I can't think where else I would have bumped into him.
Yeah, possibly on your 300th.
Oh yes, Bull
Yeah.
was it. Hop in for a while on my 300th. Yes, you're right. So many people did. I lost track.
Yeah,
That was a
There's
good one.
Kiri. I see her now. Hi, Kiri.
Yeah.
that was the actually like the second, maybe third stream I'd ever been on.
Oh, that was so much fun, that stream.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
So I've got to ask Jen, did you like the love you were getting from us on the Daily Atheist?
Oh, yeah. You guys keep throwing love my way. It's
I had
wonderful.
to pile it on. But forget show not just some love. It was show Jen some love today.
Bull said it was on one of Notch's streams, Jen.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well,
See, I thought
he
it might
said
have
2, so.
been. But there you go, Bull. I've sent you a link if you want to hop in. If you're up for it.
And the good thing is, Math Pig won't get picked on here.
Yeah.
He's safe.
No, it's damn it, Jen.
Damn it, Jen.
Damn it, Jen.
Yeah.
You know what? I am buying that shirt.
Just
Yeah.
because of you, Jay, I'm going to have a Damn It Jen stream.
Yeah, well, you guys can thank Raven for she made the shirt,
She
Yeah.
did a brilliant job. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Raven.
and I
Even
put it
though
on.
Jay's getting all the money for it.
She put it on the shirt, and I put it on a mug and a pair of
Hey, Glober Chris,
tights thing,
and Matt Pig,
stretchy
and
pants,
everyone
yoga
else.
pants.
It seems the rage. So who's going to model it?
I'll do
Okay. Bull's roommate is sleeping. Okay, that's fine.
Hey, Global
If somebody
Chris is
wants to
here.
join us.
Is it bad that we've got more people in the after party than the show?
We don't. There was more people watching the show, but there's more people in
How
here.
many have we got in here
Yeah.
now?
We got 5 in here now.
Yeah. Well,
No,
14 watching.
Yeah.
There's 16 watching.
16 watching.
So the numbers are about the same.
Last night was awesome though, having Sir Sick drop in.
Mm.
oh yeah, it's a shame I had to drop out before he dropped in.
That was amazing. Getting to actually chat with him aside from on thing on
Yeah.
in Twitter. It was nice to actually talk to him. So had a lot of fun.
Who the fuck is Jen?
No idea who it is. So I'll just assume it's a YouTuber of notoriety.
Yeah.
Someone with a bit of class.
I can't believe
Well, that's why I don't know who they are.
I can't believe I've already had 3 downvotes on my flat Earth debunking video.
That doesn't surprise me.
I'm surprised you've only had 3.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good one.
Already had them. It's like what?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, he won't have egg on his face because it'd be ripped off from the cable.
Yeah.
I've got on my calling out flat Earth video, we got 45 likes and 3 dislikes,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah,
only
It's the
3
same
minutes.
3.
That's only 3 minutes long.
Well, mine's only 10. It was only a short video though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like I debunked their idea of the flat Earth. I just debunked his experiment.
Did
Now,
you see what Mathpig just said?
Well,
Purple's going to come on camera tonight.
ooh,
Ooh.
ooh.
yeah, I expect to.
So that I've been trying to work out what a
Well done,
furf is, and I didn't want to ask, and I just worked it out.
Watchtower Watcher.
Why did you think they didn't think Australia existed?
Have you not heard that? Oh man, there's one guy on there that he lives in London and doesn't believe England exists,
Doesn't believe England exists.
England
and
is
he
it.
lives in London.
That's got to be taking the piss. There's no way.
That's got to be
Yeah.
because he was like, Scotland doesn't exist, Ireland doesn't exist, England doesn't exist, Australia doesn't exist. I'm like, you live in London.
So where does exist?
His bedroom.
He's
He
never
never leaves
he never
His
never
mother's
gets
basement.
he never really gets around to saying why he spouts off a couple things, but never really gets to a point.
No, see, I wonder if I wonder if
Princeton.
one of those people that thinks that, they're just a brain in the jar and everything's just like, and nothing is real.
The old hard solipsist.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, probably.
Ray Comfort. I'm
Hang on.
considering-
He's got a mask. Or the character Chris does.
Look at this banana. It's perfectly shaped. It even has a tab. And look, it's designed for that.
We must have the bananas, precious.
It goes all the way in. And look, I can get it down my throat without the choke.
What I can't believe is that I made fun of him being an idiot, and he follows me. Ray's normal approach is to block.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, but Ray likes to have the conversations with atheists.
Yes, he
and,
does. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's his outreach ministry, even though he then tends to be a bit of a dick about it all. But
I think he's using his grandsons now. He's blocked me on his, but now his grandson is putting out way more stuff. I think he's switching. Yeah,
Okay.
Jonathan. I think he's switching to using his profile just for marketing
Okay.
and putting stuff out on his grandsons.
Although he was
The-
still putting stuff. No,
the
he was still putting
banana.
stuff.
Was intelligently designed by humans over thousands and thousands of generations of selective breeding.
I can't even
In
remember
6,000
what
years since
voice
God
was the
created us.
phrase that I tweeted against. It was something he said about us anyway, about Australians.
Yeah, it was because remember we did the stream about the it was when he
Yeah.
said that God was withholding the rain.
Yeah, but that wasn't that tweet that I replied to. It was something else he said.
Yeah, didn't he drop the video just before the rains began?
Yeah. I mean, we've already taken the piss out of him, but I would more than happy. I mean, if Ray ever sees this, watches anything of mine and sees this, and I'm going to tweet to him as well. If he ever wants to come on my channel or on Chris's channel, we can, depending on where he feels safer, and have a talk to a few atheist Australians and try and convert us back to the way. Then
Oh, hey,
we are more than happy to have that discussion with him.
He
Oh,
has
are you-
no
are you
interest
considering-
in talking to people that actually know what they're talking about.
No, he
Oh, so
doesn't.
he thinks
But,
I'm a
he
dumb
likes
blonde, so
that
that's why he
appearance. I mean,
followed me.
he's done a bit of stuff with Jacqueline. Blunt.
Oh,
I
yeah,
know that.
that's a very good point, Watchtower. Banana is fucked.
Yeah.
No, unfortunately, I can't because I'm an evolutionist. Only creationists can deep throat, and Jen.
Does Jen have a secret then? Is she really a creationist?
She's creative.
He has no secret.
Young
I
America,
can see the damn it Jen look on Jay's face.
the whole thing's a big act. She's putting it on. She's a complete Kent Hovind file. She loves Kent. She loves herself some Ray. She's got posters of Ken Ham up everywhere, and she can't help us.
Yeah, you've seen my bedroom. There's no posters in my bedroom.
Oh,
We haven't
all
seen
just
that
realized-
wall.
I just realized everyone sees my bedroom.
We haven't seen that other wall. The one you look at when you're in bed.
Yeah.
Oh, no, maybe there's one on the roof.
It's just a picture of like Ken Ham, Kent Hovind, and Ray Comfort all shirtless together.
I like
I'm
that.
sure Kurt Cameron's probably got a growing pains calendar from back in the day, and you could put the old picture of Ray in there with him, and that'd be good.
Actually,
This is bad. Actually, I think you've been accused now twice in one night of having a thing for Ken Ham.
but I think in my if you watch my actual videos, you've probably seen more of my bedroom than you have of Jen's bedroom.
You wouldn't want to see mine. It's just, although I did come from my iPad in bed last night.
You
I
did.
will say that
Yes,
I
you
did.
Yes. And if anyone wants to see anywhere else in my house, when I did girls' night with Angie and Faye, you can see part of our lounge room. And Dave probably saw that.
But
Dave's seen my lounge room a little bit. Yeah.
yeah, like the first half of my videos on my channel are were shot with me sitting in front of my fish tank. And then like the more recent ones are me sitting on the couch that I sleep on.
And I've got to say, you without the beard.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I'm watching some of the earlier stuff. Just going, I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah.
Right. Where did you type that?
Yeah.
Dave, now that
Yeah.
you've said that, Jay,
Damn it, Janet.
we should ask Art
I bet you
if he'll
could.
do a Damn It Jen song.
That would be so funny. I would play that at the beginning of the stream.
I think we need the techno remix. Yeah, damn it, Jen. Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're taking samples of you saying
Redux.
Yeah.
Is
Maybe-
it bad? Right, talking about what things are behind people. Is it bad that I keep imagining the bear on Diana's stream floating face down in the fish tank? Because she has an empty tank behind her.
Yeah, I know. It's dreadful, isn't it? But fish tend to float when they're dead.
Well, the bear would float.
Until it got waterlogged.
Nah.
Oh dear. Well, I got to say, it's been some fun streams today. It's sort of all been
I think
happening.
we're all
Hasn't
too
it?
tired.
Hang on,
That's
I want
the
to go back to something here real quick that Chris asked me on the last show. What is one of the weirdest conspiracy things I've seen? This is Jen.
Yeah.
Show this real quick. Now I don't know if you can read that. It says, "Do the blood stains on top of the Georgia Guidestones indicate satanic blood sacrifices as warned off by local church pastor?"
So who threw a cheddar paint up there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, mind you, that thing's 15 feet in the air. But
Yes.
yet they did a blood sacrifice on the top of the Georgia Guidestones. So yeah.
You're-
Well, obviously, one of them knew how to cast fly.
There you go.
and they obviously also don't understand that rust can look like blood.
Or
No, there's clearly blood sacrifices on an altar.
But just so you know, Chris, one of my next videos is covering the Tartarian Empire was omitted from history by the Jesuits.
Oh, I have to
Okay.
watch that. I have to watch that. I
Either
don't know what
that,
a Tartarian
that-
Empire is, but
it's either going to be that or the history of reptilian Satanism, the Nibiru connection.
Oh, we should Nibiru.
Well-
Please do Nibiru. We need to do Nibiru at some
I
point.
still reckon we need to set up
the whole Noah's Ark was found conspiracy, right?
Which one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which time?
Well, I've heard one and like almost kind of believed one about the Ark of the Covenant.
Now there is one with the Ark that I kind of will go, okay, if it actually existed, this might be a place for it, and that is
the
that church in Ethiopia.
Ethiopia, sorry, yeah.
But yeah, the one this is the craziest one. This is the craziest one I've heard. And it's probably the craziest one I believe. Is that they found the Ark of the Covenant under Golgotha, and they found blood stains on the Ark, and the blood stains were still alive.
Oh, I think I heard that one. Yeah, that's
Yeah. Pentecostal for the win.
Yeah, it baffles. I really think just for a laugh, I'm thinking we need to set up a conspiracy channel where obviously we don't use our faces, but I think we just see how batshit crazy we can go with things. And,
I don't know. I mean, Ring and I have some experience of creating a conspiracy.
Oh man,
The Disney buying Dr. Who.
Doctor Who.
Yeah,
That was
Oh,
so much
right.
fun.
yeah.
Here's a video for you, Pastor. Flat Earth, Jesuits, and the Global Conspiracy.
I love it. I haven't seen it, and I already love it.
Yeah. Or Nephilims in the Bible. Is Yahuwah a genocidal maniac or a living creator?
Actually,
Genocidal maniac.
there's a
Genocidal.
video I've been wanting to do a debunk on for a while. It's it's done as it's a podcast show, but they do the video feed of it, and the guy's interviewing somebody who's actually been through deconversion. Not deconversion, conversion therapy for being gay. And they're discussing how it's the possession by gay demons that causes people to be homosexual.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you know, it's one, and this is something that's not known. There's a it's called the Canberra Declaration in Australia, and it's probably one of the most vocal anti same-sex marriage and LGBTQ groups that's out there, and it's run by a guy who openly admits he has those urges, but has been able to pray enough to suppress them because he knows they're wrong. It's like the damage that this conversion therapy stuff does to people,
Oh
and
yeah.
making them hate who they are. It's just so fucking wrong.
Yeah.
And I've seen people who they're blatantly and obviously gay in churches, but they suppress it. And they'll admit that they've got the urges, and then they're sort of pushing themselves to find the wife or the husband, if depending.
And think about those poor partners they end up with, because at some point in their lives, this is all going to come back to bite them, and it's going to destroy a marriage over it. And it's going to, because they're religious, it's going to destroy it in a dreadful way. So it damages not just the person who gets forced through the conversion therapy, it damages everybody else who's within their lives afterwards.
Well, you guys familiar with Fred Haggard? Or Ted Haggard? Ted Haggard?
Ted?
Yeah, Ted.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ted Haggard. And he was basically the leading evangelical in the US. And, he had the mega church and the year of the president and all that kind of stuff. And he was very much, against anything LGBTQ plus. And then he got caught with a male prostitute smoking meth.
Yeah.
This is the same guy who had the big fight with Dawkins about you called my kids monkeys or something like that, and and then after that he went away for a little bit, and then they wrote a few books about how he's come back, and now he set up another mega church.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Yeah.
Many books later.
Yeah. How many prayers does it take to pray the gay away? I tried for over a decade, and with pure belief of a child, still knows wrong with it.
Praying the wrong way.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
Yeah. So the problem is you probably went to the First Baptist Church instead of the Second Pentecostal Church, and it's one church in rural Nebraska that actually has it right. The rest of it.
No, you need to find the right bookshop and get on your knees.
Hey,
I mean,
I've been to a few bookshops like that.
Have you now, Chris?
According to Hans Wormhat, school makes you dumb.
You gotta love Hans.
Gorillas that look almost human.
Incidentally, I'm just going to try something here and see if this works. Lissy Lou, if you're listening, the dog's kind of having a bit of a heart attack in the lounge room. He's I don't know what he's doing. So if you want to come and have a look at him, because he responds better to you than me. So
it reminds me of my dad. Right, I live on a three-story house, and until my nan died, she lived downstairs. And one morning, I'm woken up at 8 o'clock in the morning, and my dad's standing at the end of my bed screaming on the 3rd floor. Your nan's fallen down. She's on the ground floor. So instead of phoning an ambulance for her, who's lying unconscious on the floor, he runs up 3 flights of stairs to find me. And then he goes to work. Workaholic. I boggled at him. And he did the same with his dog. His dog was sick. And he came and got me to deal with it so he could go to work.
Well, I know how long ambulance take in the UK.
Yes, but would you not phone it? That's why you'd phone it first.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'd phone it and then I'd go wake you up and then go.
That's reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All makes sense. Incidentally, Lissy Lou tells me the dog is fine. He's just trying to get comfortable. So this is why I get her in. She knows these things. I'm hopeless.
Hey, it's Badger. You gonna jump in, Badger?
I can't remember if it was Edison or Graham Bell that tried to get Ahoy Hoy to catch on.
Bell.
Yeah, it was Monty Burns, I think.
No, that's the joke. Is that Monty Burns is like the only one who picked up the habit.
Not only Monty. Whenever I get a phone call from, generally from people I know, I go hoy hoy.
Yeah,
isn't it Plain a Walk? He does a hoy hoy.
Plain a Walk does a hoy hoy.
Yeah.
I
think you and I are the only ones who know who Plain a Walk are, Jay.
Probably. A couple people in the chat.
Please say you know who Plain a Walk is, Jay. You are, Jay. Dave.
No idea.
Oh God.
Yeah.
All right, so who else, Jay?
Yeah. They always they say he for a while there was a conspiracy that Planner Walk and Heath were the same person.
They don't even look alike. Considering we've seen both of them on screen.
On the same stream.
Yeah.
On the same stream, yes, but I mean, I've seen their faces on streams for ages. They do not look alike. Oh dear. Is that like the conspiracy that Simon Dan has no legs?
They're CGI.
Yep.
Or-
Hi, Carl.
He has no nipples either.
Does he not?
No, Simon Dan has no nipples either.
I'm surprised he can live.
Oh dear. I like that one. He's a New Zealander, Chris.
Bull says he runs his
So
Discord
he's a
server.
wannabe Aussie. Bull says what?
Makes sense.
Ah.
So
Oh,
I'm
you
going
run
to,
his Discord server. Okay, cool, Bull.
I'm going to make tracks, everyone, because it's 1:30 in
No
the morning.
worries, Chris.
Yeah.
And despite my good looks, I do need my beauty sleep.
Oh, you definitely do.
I definitely do.
Hey, Carl.
So I reckon if I go and have a sleep for maybe the next 4 years, I might be presentable. I don't know. No, hey, thanks everyone who jumped on the streams tonight and jumped in the chat, and yeah, I will catch you all later, and I'm going to try out my new outro. I hope you all have a God blessed and God filled day.
Bye, Chris.
Yeah.
Bah. Hey, Carl. Bye, Lizzie. Get some sleep too.
Yeah.
You just wanted to go disturb the dog now. It was comfy.
Yeah.
The dog. Ugh. It's always good when you have a stream and you got absolutely nothing planned.
Do you think we can drag Badger into the sci-fi thing on Saturday?
Oh, with other Chris.
Chris's.
Yeah, with the Chris's. Yeah.
Yeah.
They should have asked me up front. Actually, they should have asked Ring.
They should.
Honestly, it's Ring.
But I don't. The problem is Chris doesn't know everyone yet.
Yeah, Chris doesn't know everyone.
Yeah.
You know, if you want the right people who know the sci-fi, then you know. I mean, I'm pretty good in the things I like, but I think.
Well, this is the
think
problem. I don't think I'd ever
Ring's
do a.
got-
I don't think I'd actually ever go on a discussion with Ring about pretty much any of it, because I don't
Really?
think I could ever add anything. I don't know.
Well, you see what happens.
You know
It
classic.
happens to
You
me.
definitely know Classic Who better than me.
When they start talking sci-fi and politics, I go, oh, "What's going on in this chat?"
Yes, we have to do a Doctor Who
Sport.
one.
Doctor Who. Doctor Who I can do.
Oh yeah.
I'll do Doctor Who.
We have to do Doctor Who, and if we do Doctor Who, we have to have Shannon.
Christopher Heckles.
Have Shannon.
Jay, were you reading the chat when you started talking about whatever the hell you were talking about?
Just now?
No.
No.
During Chris's stream.
Yeah,
There were riots about the sport talk. I have
Why-
no clue what you're talking about.
Why do you think that conversation didn't go any further?
Damn it, Jay!
Is there a damage, Jay?
That was a damn it, Jay. No sport.
Yeah, no sports.
My stream, no sport.
Not
I
even
can
put
mute
it.
you.
Oh.
I
So,
don't get it. I mean,
Wait a minute. I got you sci-fi freaks here. All right. I have a question.
okay.
Okay.
The xenomorph. Do you think it is possible to have an alien life form out there like the xenomorph?
With certain limitations, not as described.
Yeah,
But
not
yes.
as described, but definitely you can. I mean, we have them here. We have
What,
we have symbiotic creatures that take over other creatures to get what they want.
Yeah.
I'm talking about with the hardened skin, the acid for the blood,
The acid for the blood is the problem.
the mouth thingy.
Yeah.
You could definitely have acid, but having something that acidic, I don't think would work. But you could have something that contains something that could. So you end up go back to the bombardier beetle. You could have something that produces something that acidic, but I don't think you could. I don't think you could have something that had something that acidic as blood.
And even with the bombardier beetle, it's they don't like it. The chemicals only really produced as it's being expelled because they have the two components in separate chambers.
Kind of like a dragon's flame.
Yeah.
Depending
on the law.
my personal drinking game, if I watch a video about like biology of dragons or whatever, is like if the bombardier beetle is brought up, take a drink.
Well, I mean, it's the whole idea that they based. What was the movie with the where they found the dragons at the bottom of a building site where they were digging?
Yeah.
That rings a bell.
It'll be on your shelf someday,
It's
Jack.
got Christian Bale. It's
It
got
does.
Like Age of Dragons or something.
No. Oh, give me a second.
Dragonfire.
Matthew McConaughey.
Dragonfire.
Oh crap!
Jay.
Give me a second.
Jay.
I will find it.
Jay. It's called Dragonfire.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
Maybe
it's got fire in it anyway.
Maybe in Australia. Okay, hold on.
Answer me something.
My friend.
Why is it that Americans can't deal with philosopher?
Hey, I would rather it be called the Philosopher's
Sorry, it's
Stone.
Rain of Fire.
Rain of Fire.
Yeah, Rain of Fire.
I'd
Okay.
rather it
have
be
fire.
called the Philosopher's Stone instead of the Sorcerer's Stone. It makes more sense.
Yeah.
Of course it does.
Because
I mean, that's the same thing.
let me rephrase that because I know what a Philosopher's Stone is.
Yeah.
that may help a little bit.
Yeah, but Sorcerer's Stone doesn't make any sense in the context of the fucking.
No.
Badger's here. Sorry, Badger.
Hey, Badger.
Sorry, Badger.
Hello.
Good
How long
morning.
have you
sir.
been waiting?
You have to cater. You have to dumb things down for us.
Yeah, you got to dumb things down for Americans. We're dumb.
See,
Yeah.
I was just going to sit here in the side chat, and then you start talking about sci-fi. So here I am.
So what we're saying is sci-fi works as badger bait.
2 seconds. Badger, on
The
Saturday,
So-
the
yeah,
day
the
the atheist is doing a
xenomorph.
stream.
We'll go back to what Jay was talking about. You could certainly
What
have
time?
a creature that's life cycle relied on it
1 o'clock.
implanting in another creature and eating it, basically eating its way out, because we already have
PM
that.
or 1 a.m.?
PM.
Yeah, that movie. You could also have it that you could also have it that the creature, when it does that, could in its gestation period actually steals some bits of DNA from the host that it's in.
Because we
That's-
already have something like that.
We already have something like that, so that could change it slightly in the way it looks afterwards. You could have something that big and that strong, but yeah, the acid blood, no, not so much. The
I've got acid blood.
Whose is
the
it?
exoskeleton depends.
It's Boris
The
Johnson.
exoskeleton may be an issue as well.
Yes, because it depends. I mean, if it's proper lung breathing, if it's not directly insect-like, like you'd expect for anything that's got an exoskeleton or that's insect, it would be fine. So if it's actually got lungs and it breathes normally, but if it's breathing, if it's basically breathing through its exoskeleton through, and I can't remember what they're called.
Spiracles.
Thank you. The spiracles, then no, because they would only
You'd
survive
have
in
it.
oxygen-rich
Yeah, they only
environments.
live in a super oxygen saturated environment.
Yeah, so that's not
Have you
Yeah.
seen the have you seen the dragonfly fossils?
Well,
but
yeah,
they're still not as
that's
big as the
part of the
xenomorph.
reason why we know Earth was super oxygen saturated at that time.
Mm.
Because bugs cannot get that big without living in a super oxygen saturated environment.
It's good stuff, that oxygen.
It's a bit corrosive.
So it's everything.
There was
I mean,
another
unless
one.
you've got something right
There
in the middle in its pH levels, then yeah, it's going to be corrosive to some extent. And here's Bull. Hey, Bull.
I'm here.
Oh,
Bull. How you
So what's
doing?
this about a sci-fi discussion?
Can you all hear me?
yeah, we got you.
Yeah.
I can't hear nothing.
Liar.
Shut up, Badger. Yeah, we hear you, Bull. So your thoughts on the Xenomorph, Bull?
I think it's really tough to say what can and can't exist when we really don't know. Although the acid for blood is a little bit pushing the boundaries. There could be something out there in this giant universe of ours that is directly counter to everything that we are and would kill us in a heartbeat.
To have something that is such an apex predator, would you not need an apex prey?
But
everything.
But we're both engineered by the engineers. If you've seen Prometheus, so
Yeah. Oh, Prometheus. I don't care. I like Prometheus.
It's all right, Phil.
There is another problem that I did think of. So, the face huggers implant the egg or whatever, in the host, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
And then the larvae develops inside the host without triggering the host's immune system.
Well, it probably does. I mean, most of the hosts go into a kind of shock when it happens. So.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen Aliens.
The immune system seems terribly easy to switch off.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but the thing is, if it suppress the immune system, then what's keeping them from catching all kinds of other viruses and bacteria?
They could use their immune system.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had another alien I was going to ask you about, but I can't remember, so I'm trying to find the movie.
It's because it is magic alien.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's possible that the xenomorphs are like trees and they suck the carbon they need out of the atmosphere.
Do they look made of carbon though?
Are they a carbon-based life form or a silicon-based life form?
I thought it maybe
It
said they
depends
were.
on the host, if I remember right.
Okay. That doesn't make any sense at all then, because the egg would have to be one type or the other.
But like I said, I don't remember right offhand.
Yeah.
Because you really only see them. There was a dog in Alien 3, but mainly all their hosts were all humans. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm with International Iconoclasm. It doesn't make any sense, but it doesn't have to. It's science fiction. But it's science fantasy, really. It's not even science fiction.
It's science horror.
Science horror, yes. And science horrors are even worse than science fantasies for trying to follow down the road of proper science. They don't. There is nothing.
But what about evolution? It says so in the wiki.
In the wiki.
Yeah. No, I read the wiki for a lot of alien stuff, and it's really complicated.
I'm not saying
And-
it's aliens.
still one of my favorite shows on TV. I love that show.
Yeah. All right. So if we're going to go down this sci-fi route again, Jay already asked a question. What else? So are we going to do a Doctor Who one ring? Because I'm pretty sure Dave's going to want to be on it.
Christopher Eccleston.
Yeah, we're not going to argue about which Doctor is the best Doctor.
Christopher Eccleston.
I always think those arguments are stupid.
Each Doctor's got their best points.
Yeah.
Apart from
Yeah,
Christopher.
and I've liked all of them, so
I'm a particular fan of Christopher because that's who I started with.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. The Doctor they started with ends up being their favorite. Now,
Yes.
my first Doctor was
Yeah.
Pertwee.
Now, see, my favorite companion was Amy and Rory. So
Wow. Yeah,
Well, my favorite companion is Ace.
the Eccleston is just fantastic.
yeah, it's fantastic.
I wish
Come
I
on,
had
Dave,
been
do
able to
it.
stick around.
Dave, you got the
TV.
accent. Do it.
Well, yeah.
I'd say
Fantastic.
Tennant.
Hey, fantastic.
Tennant was Tennant was my
Fantastic.
doctor.
There you go.
So, how many of you are voting for David Tennant as your favorite?
Tenant.
Me.
So 2.
I like David, but I thought Matt Smith did a better job.
Why? I mean, Matt
I
Smith did a brilliant job, and it's all in the eyes.
Yeah,
His deep, sullen eyes.
there's-
Oh my god, the
I mean,
delivery of some of his speeches made me fucking.
don't get me wrong.
I'd say,
Great. I just loved Matt Smith's his whole reaction with everything, and the camaraderie with Amy and Rory just made it so much better.
I'd say it's a tie between 9 and 10 for me. Which is kind of a cop-out, seeing as how I've only really seen 9, 10, and 11.
Now, see, I like Capaldi at first, but then after a while, I just like, all right, you've outworn your welcome. Let's move on to a different.
The problem I had with Capaldi was wasn't Capaldi. It was I've forgotten her name. Clara.
Clara
They
was
broke.
good
The
with
problem is
Smith.
how did you get it delivered to you? And that sounds weird. Clara was delivered in the UK. The season was broken up in a very odd way, so we never really got to know her.
Too,
Oh,
because we
see,
watched them the same way you did.
ours
Right.
was back to back.
Yeah,
It was,
I went back and watched it, and I got much more into her.
yeah. I like Clara at first when she was Matt Smith, and even after she took over with Capaldi, but then after a while, she just got so old and whining to me. It was like, yeah, it's time for you to go. Ooh, John Hurt did a good doctor too.
But I still would have loved a season with Wilfred as a companion.
Alright, so favorite Doctor. I don't know that I have a favorite Doctor out of the new ones. I've liked them all for different reasons, but probably Matt's the one I got more involved with watching. Just because I like the fact that Matt was actually quirky, which I like about some of the Doctors. So,
His
No,
match,
I don't know.
No
that I like
violence,
anything better.
not ever. Oh, you're talking about beating them in a football match.
Yeah.
Matt's first episode was probably one of my favorite episodes with Matt.
Hey, Teddy.
Put a lot into that first episode.
Yeah,
And
it was really good.
Yeah, John Hurt. Yeah. So I mean, my first Doctor was Pertwee, but I probably fell in love with Tom first over Pertwee. But I think of the original Doctors, Peter Davidson's my favorite.
I did like Peter Davidson, and it's made all the better by him being Tennant's father-in-law.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's-
there's also the aspect with Peter Davidson is that I loved All Creatures Great and Small. I loved him in that as well,
Yeah.
and I always thought he was hot.
Did you?
so-
Okay, complete side issue. Did you get One by One?
One by One?
Yeah.
I don't remember One by One. We probably
Had
did,
you?
but
Hello.
Do you know what One by One is?
I don't think I do.
was that a spin-off of it?
No, absolutely nothing to do with it. Just made at the same time, but it was made at Chester Zoo. It was made at a zoo very near here,
Ah,
but it was
okay.
massive. It was about vets that if you watch All Creatures Great and Small, you would have liked it, and it was about the
Okay.
same time. But I think All Creatures Great and Small might have carried on longer.
Oh, it went on for ages, All Creatures Great and Small.
Hmm.
Mind you, if we're going to go back to that vintage, probably the sci-fi show I loved the most at the time wasn't Doctor Who, was Black 7.
Which I haven't seen. Well, I've seen like a couple of episodes.
That's
'Cause it was
disappointing, Dave, but because Blade 7 is brilliant. It's really hard to go back now and watch though, because the special effects were so dated and the acting is so 70s. But I've still rewatched it, and the certain episodes still stand and shine.
I still like some sci-fi movies with dated effects. Like, for instance, the original, the Day the Earth Stood Still. And,
I think there are lots where the special effects don't take you out of it because the story's good.
and Escape from the Forbidden Planet
Mm.
with the
There's a classic.
creature from the id.
Now watch my head expand.
Yeah.
Has anyone seen? What's it called? Blake 7.
Well done, Badger.
Never heard of it.
There was talk a
Let
while
me just
back
check the
of
title.
BBC and somebody else together remaking it.
I saw rumours of that. I
Yeah,
haven't heard anything
Okay.
else.
A while ago, my dad was trying to find Blake 7. On,
Now,
I
are we
He's
talking
trying to find
about
out.
actual rumors or rumors?
No.
Rumors of
Somebody
rumors.
actually had purchased rights to do it from the BBC. Well, it was going to be a joint effort, but they'd negotiated the rights to do it. But one of the people involved with the project actually died, so it all sort of petered out and didn't do it. But the BBC actually has rights back now, and they've been in talks with other people again about it. There was actually talk about Amazon being involved.
Oh,
You
My
already
dad
know
was
Ring
trying to
anyway.
find Blake 7
No,
on some sci-fi service, or I can't remember which, but he was looking for it in the comedy section because he hadn't sort of realized when first watching it that he was supposed to take it seriously.
How could you? I mean, Avon is awesome. Is an awesome character. Avon was hard to see.
but anyways, what were you saying, Dave?
Yeah, you should know by now that when we talk about rumours on here, they turn out to be bloody true anyway.
Yeah.
There you go, Carl. I'm with you. Avon was brilliant. Blake was a wimp. Avon was my favorite character. I loved Avon. He was irreverent. His morals were questionable at best. But he was kind of he was the hero of the show, but he was almost an anti-hero character. He was very reluctant in what he did, but he was very good at it.
If you want to talk some cheesy sci-fi, rock and roll wrestling women versus the Aztec mummy.
No,
Rock and roll wrestling women versus the Moon Men. And of course, everyone's favorite, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
oh yes, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Now that's
Followed
another
by the
thing that
sequel-
has to be done. Ring.
Followed by the
Attack of
sequel,
Killer Tomatoes.
Return of the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How old's your phone?
Early 2000s.
Now I know there's Now I know that it's definitely an older movie, so the effects will be very dated.
Okay,
Well,
so I just got a text message. Sorry to interrupt, Ring, but I've just received a text message from a friend of mine saying, "'Tis better to have loved and lost." So I'm going to reply, "than never to have loved at all." And it has to be said in that particular voice because that's Patrick Stewart playing Jean-Luc Picard saying it.
Yeah. But anyways,
Sorry, carry on.
you know, I know it's old and the
It
effects
must needs wither.
are likely very dated. But what I'd really like to see sometime is the Day of the Triffids. I've read
That's
it.
a good movie. That's a
There's
good
another
movie.
one we have to do.
Day of the
The
Triffids.
British TV series was absolutely awesome.
Yeah,
back in the day.
I've read the book
noise.
and I want to watch it.
Oh, the noise in it, yeah. But it was brilliant, and the weapons for shooting their heads off.
Did you remember?
Yeah.
I'm trying to explain to Caroline about it because she never managed to see it. Do you ever see Tripods?
Oh, yeah, I think I caught like one episode of
'Cause
Tribal.
I couldn't find anyone else that had seen it.
Yeah,
Go, Jay.
I know about it. I've seen a bit of it.
I gotta
but I've
bounce.
not really watched.
Raven got home, so I'm going to
Okay.
take off.
Bye, Jay.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Have fun.
Nice talking to you, Badger. Bull. See you later.
Yeah.
Later.
So a show you might remember, Ring, or Bull might remember. There was an comedy American
I'm just muting
sci-fi
myself.
that was all about garbage collection. It was called Quark.
Who? What?
Quark.
Okay, that Okay.
The name rings a bell because Quark was the bartender in.
The show
No, I
was
get that.
quite
No.
fun.
I was just thinking of we had something called Commoner's Muck.
Ha!
That was
I
most definitely.
remember that too.
That had some
Yeah, that
excellent
didn't
sex
last
scenes
very
in
long,
it.
did it? A Commoner's
No, it
Garbage-
had Edward Woodward in it.
Garbage collection? Garbage
Yeah.
collection.
Well,
Yeah.
garbage collectors.
Yeah.
I did like Edward Woodward.
Oh yes, I did too. Okay, here it is. I'll find the link for people, and I will.
What do you mean Tremors isn't sci-fi?
It's not
It's
sci-fi.
It's
It's
not.
got
It's
got
meant to be
worms that
horror.
trundle along under the floor.
Right.
And what? And there are no worms that trundle along under the floor.
There are worms that trundle along under the floor.
Not
They're
at
just smaller.
those speeds.
And
Jesus
they don't have
Christ.
smaller worms in their mouths.
It starred Richard Benjamin, and it was in 1977.
That's a bit too soon for me in sci-fi.
Ah,
How old are you, Bull?
Oh,
I'm
Quartermass.
47.
Quartermass.
The only sci-fi I'd watched up to that point was probably Star Trek at 4 p.m. on Syndicate.
How old did you say you are, Bull?
47.
So you're only a year younger than me,
Yeah.
and I remember Quark.
Unfortunately, I missed out on a lot of sci-fi shows because we didn't have cable growing up.
Yeah, I didn't have cable
that was the
either.
thing. See, I saw these on free-to-air telly, and so they would have been later on repeat. So I would have watched Quark in the 80s. No, Dave, do you remember Metal Mickey?
No.
Like
Oh, what?
what I do remember watching growing up was Star Trek, Stargate SG-1, and Stargate Atlantis.
Oh, that's really depressing. That's really depressing.
What's wrong with
Dave,
Stargate?
you're an
No,
old
I love,
boy.
absolutely adore Stargate. It's just Stargate was when I was at university.
Yeah.
Dave, you was an old boy.
Who
By
here
the way-
remembers V, the original V?
Yeah, so
Back from the
Friend of mine
80s.
has been
they're
watching
making you
that.
feel like you drank out of the wrong grail.
A friend of mine has been watching V and recommended it to me. It's the same person who just sent me a Picard reading poetry quote.
What is V?
All right, if you're going to talk about V, original V or the remake,
The original
I'm with
is
Bull.
what I'm talking about because
Although I love the special effects of the new one, the story didn't feel right.
no, it didn't. It felt very forced in the second one.
And now everyone knows how Jay feels.
By the way, I just got another text message saying your package has been delivered. So I know, I have it. You gave it to me in person.
And then what was the? Yeah, Freddy Before the Fire from the original V. And if we're going to talk about shows originals V remake, original Battlestar Galactica or the remake?
Oh God, that's a tough one because
That is
The-
because they were
the
both
orig-
very good.
the original was very good. I didn't like the follow-on series to the original. I thought that was kind of
when
stupid.
they took Starbuck out of it, it was not
yeah,
the same.
yeah. But the second one was it tied everything up in a nice, neat little package, and I loved it.
The book was pretty good.
Yeah.
And the fact that Tim Russ redid All Along the Watchtower for it. So yeah, Tim Russ, like as in Tuvok, actually did the music in the second Battlestar Galactica.
Actually, Battlestar
Battlestar.
Galactica was one of Heinlein's least yikesy books that I've read.
Oh, just had a great idea.
Whatever happened to Buck Rogers, Taddy? Buck Rogers, they never made it again, but it
Yeah.
just kind
It
of went
became Star
away.
Wars.
I've just had a brilliant idea. Everyone knows Ansgar Odinson, right?
Yes.
Never heard of him.
Get out of there. What we should do is get him like the full Battlestar Galactica uniform and put him in one of the ships and call it call him Battle Scar Odinson. Sounded better in my head.
Yeah.
Will he retain the top hat? Is my question.
Of course.
You'd have to be.
That doesn't
totally
come
out of
off. It's
character.
part of his head.
I'm sure I've seen it with it off. It was running around.
That was an illusion.
Does anyone remember when
Or
they tried
some
to
with
make
mirrors.
a Flash Gordon TV series in early 2000s?
Oh dear.
No, but I do know a old Barbera animated series called Defenders of the Earth.
Oh,
That was it was Flash Gordon, some magician dude, like basically a bunch of like golden age comic characters, right?
yeah.
And their kids, and they were, they were fighting against Ming the Merciless and his, underling.
See, all I can remember now is Marvin the Martian.
Yeah.
But hold on.
I have multiple issues with June the TV series and the original and the June movie, and my ideal June would be somewhere in between the two of them.
There was a series?
Yeah, there was a series. The series
Yeah.
isn't too
Right.
bad.
It's all right.
It removed some of the aspects that make June really good and modified it around. Whereas some of those things were kept in the actual movie version,
Yeah.
But they changed other things in the movie that were actually ruined the story to a degree. So I'm like, somewhere in between those two is my ideal June.
I don't
Where's the
think
series?
you're ever going to get something because so much goes on in their heads.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why I'm worried about them doing the Robert Jordan TV show on Amazon.
But
Because I don't know how can you put Wheel of Time into
yeah,
a TV series? and make
I'm
it work?
very leery about that, especially if they want to go live action for it.
Guys, remember Alien Nation?
That
Because-
the movie.
The movie, yeah.
Yeah,
They had a
now
TV show.
Now I have major problems with that. How come they can't drink? They can drink milk, but they cannot drink water.
Isn't there
Yeah,
water
makes
in milk?
No sense at all.
There is water in milk.
Exactly.
Yes.
It
It's like
was a
saying I can
dumb
drink
idea.
orange juice, but I can't eat oranges.
I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense if you can drink water, but you can't drink milk because there's something in milk that you might have a reaction with. But
They're saying
if
I
you're
can
gonna have
sleep in a
reaction
bed,
to
but the
water,
bed has
you're
to
gonna
be
have
out
a
in a
reaction to
field.
Water and milk.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it always bugged me because the movie was great, but that was a dumb plot device. Dumbest thing
Yeah.
I've ever seen in a sci-fi.
Yeah, it was. It really was.
Okay, yes,
Orla,
look, it
you
was
missed
salt
us
water, but
talking about
still.
Day of the Triffids.
Day of the Triffids was good.
Yeah.
I haven't actually seen that.
But I dropped
What?
a link for the Wikipedia for Defenders of the Earth.
Is Shop of Horrors sci-fi?
Ooh, Little Shop
Little
of...
horrors. Horror sci-fi?
Sci-fi
Yeah.
horror, yeah.
Sci-fi horror
Yeah,
musical.
sci-fi horror comedy.
Musical. Musical.
Little shop,
Many-
little horrors.
You'll be a
it depends on
dentist.
which version, because yes, there is a musical, but the
Oh yes, that's
it was
right. It
based on
started
a
off as
previous
book.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I prefer the musical though because the musical
Yeah.
is so much fun.
Oh yeah. Many years ago when I was a kid, my mama noticed funny things I did. I shot at puppies with my BB gun. I poisoned guppies, and then I was done. I took a kitty cat and bashed his head. And then my mama said, what did she say? She said, son, one day you'll find a way To make your natural tendencies pay, you'll be a
Dentist.
Oh dear.
Hey, Alien Man.
And that goes all your hopes of monetization right there.
Oh, they
Steve
went
Martin.
ages ago.
Oh,
Steve
yeah,
Martin
look.
as a
It-
dentist, though. Steve
Yeah.
Martin as a dentist was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
We're not playing anyone's music though. We're just singing the lyrics. So,
Oh yeah, but the lyrics are really fucked up.
Yeah,
There's
sure,
hope of
Ilya.
monetization in this stream. For a start, I'm here.
right,
Also,
you know.
Dave is here, and also Jen's running it.
Yeah.
See, if you want someone to sing with no risk ever of being demonetized, it would be me,
Well,
because no song will ever sound anything like the song you want.
no, I'm not saying for copyright reasons. I'm just saying because the lyrics are that fucked up.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
So what? Oh look, you guys.
I mean,
will hear me
he
sing. How that
played
ends
a
up.
complete masochist, and like his whole shtick was giving everybody pain. So yeah,
Well, no, he was a sadist.
Steve Martin has been in some awesome.
yeah.
some
I'm
really
sorry, I
cool
got that
movies.
all backwards. My
Yeah.
fault.
I got
Make a lot of Steve
completely
Martin
backwards.
Hi, Ilya.
Hi.
How
Hello.
are you feeling today? Better?
Yeah. Yesterday was a bad day.
Oh,
but,
you had a shit time on Twitter.
yeah. But no, I'm doing
What
better
happened?
today. Oh.
That's good.
I forget I asked. Never mind.
Oh, just death threats and
Yeah.
Oh.
no.
Well,
People
shit.
went nuts. I haven't actually given you anything for the video you're wanting to do, Leah, because really I don't know if I want to write any of it down.
well, that's why I'm being attacked, is because I'm doing a video about it.
Yeah.
But
No, I know that, but I don't see the problem. I don't get why people are attacking. People don't have to give you stuff if they don't want to. You're not insisting that people who've been attacked, raped, or been accused of rape actually submit
right.
anything to you for your video.
I just wanted to have a healthy conversation. Like, my goal
Exactly.
was just to give a voice to all sides of the scenario and do something good and try to do some sort of speak out just to help shed some light in a healthy way, because there's so many unhealthy narratives going on right now when it comes to apologists and rape victims and everything else. And it's like, let's just pause for a minute. Let's really just have a healthy conversation about this. It doesn't need to be the conversation doesn't need to be a dumpster fire, basically, and it has
I agree.
been. So I
And-
wanted to do something good, but then I started getting messages from people saying that because I support Steve McRae, I shouldn't be asking people to come forward and tell me their stories. And then I've got Nate and Fiona sending people to talk to me. Then I've got death threats coming. Someone who got my real name and where I lived and told me to watch my back.
God,
And I literally am like, all of this because I wanted to have a healthy conversation about this.
this frustrates me because they seem to not want the discussion because they don't want to admit there are times where women have lied to say somebody has abused them either in rape or just sexual molestation or whatever.
Exactly.
And it is a
Exactly.
lie. They have actually lied. This is documented.
This is the
We
point.
know
No, it's a rate lower than normal lying about crimes.
Yeah.
Sorry?
The amount of false allegations
Oh,
is
it's lower.
lower than the rate of normal crime allegations.
Right.
Oh,
If
yes,
that
yes.
makes sense.
Yeah.
What are we talking about right now?
Yeah, so this is why, as far as it goes, when a police officer has a woman come in who claims to be raped, they should
Okay, now I
always
know.
believe the woman first, then go and investigate, assuming that she told the truth. But when it goes to court, the presumption of innocence has to come first.
Yes.
I have a slight.
Well, I mean, that's the way it's
Ah.
done for pretty much any other crime.
Yes,
I have a
and
I
that's how
don't
it should be.
understand not being honest about that. Right.
I have a slight disagreement on that one there, Jen, which is I would say that the police officer shouldn't necessarily believe that there definitely has been a crime committed and that the person is definitely telling the truth. But the police officer should definitely act in a respectful way towards the person reporting an alleged crime, and not say to them, "I think you're lying," or not say to them anything to disparage their character or to make their situation worse, and should also investigate it properly.
The usual approach for the police is when a civilian reports a crime that they assume that the civilian is not lying. And then they start the investigation. If it shows that the civilian was lying, they will shift the investigation around to show that
I agree with that.
In the United
police
States,
do go from that way. Yeah.
In the United States, if somebody reports a crime, it gives the police probable cause to investigate it.
Yeah.
That's literally that's all it does. It gives them probable cause to investigate it. If they investigate and find nothing, they can't even charge the guy. They can't even charge the guy unless they find evidence that it has occurred.
That's the same everywhere. You have to have the evidence, and that's the point. But you start from the assumption that the person making the report isn't lying, and then you look for the evidence to back that assumption up.
Right.
So that's the normal approach for that, and that's how it should be. The problem that backs a lot of women off from reporting when they've been raped is that there's been a lot of cases where the rape reports have not been taken seriously if there isn't upfront evidence if the rape has been reported at a reason, a few days after it's actually happened, which is often the case because there's the shame involved with the rape. A lot of rapes actually do go unreported. Not as high as what some people would. Not for a long time. But
not for a long time, or not at all.
Or not at all. Yeah, and it's not as high as what some people would like to suggest it is to make it actually a rape culture, but it is high enough that it's concerning. I mean, I never reported either of mine.
So I think the term rape culture just means that the culture enables rape.
Yeah, but it's come to mean a lot more than that for some people. That they've changed it from the culture is enabling rape to the culture is encouraging rape. And I don't like that shift in terminology. Not for everyone, but for some people. No, hey, listen to the way some people talk within the real radical feminists. Yeah, that is how they think.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of them, but some of them definitely. And some of these people I actually quite respect on their views on many things, but I don't like that attitude to it.
There seems to be a very or an awful lot of lack of appreciation for the different points of view.
Mm-hmm.
With by individuals, I'm not convinced by society, maybe, but on individuals, the different.
Oh, Neil's in the chat. He should come on my channel sometime.
I'm yet to have Neil in one of these.
Yeah.
I agree.
No, that's
with
not true.
Neil
was in my 300, so
sorry,
Neil.
Go on.
I agree with you, Dave. I think it is a very emotive topic, and people really struggle to discuss it in any kind of coherent manner.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what I was
anyone
trying to
who's
do.
anyone who has experienced it, it's a very emotional subject to bring up.
Yes.
And anyone who hasn't experienced it will really struggle to understand that.
Yeah, it's a hard thing because to actually own up and say I was raped is because it removes an element of your that protection that we put around ourselves, our personal space is torn away by actually owning up to that. And you're not just a victim, you're
Your autonomy,
that-
almost.
you're damaged. You're damaged as well. And
right.
it is
I was gonna
big.
say
So
your sense of self control is shot
and
completely.
not
'Cause
just self-control. It's self-control. Yeah,
And then reporting it on the back of that. And then
Yeah.
reporting it on the back of that, you have to
Yeah.
again completely give up control
Right.
And
So
live
some
in
other
like
people
other
to deal with it.
Then you
some
have to
other
go
Not only
into
that,
and admit that
you
to
have to
someone you
live
don't
through
know.
it again. And
Yep.
and anyone who's been through it, as Ilya would agree with me, if you've been through it, having to live through it again soon after it happens is almost impossible to do.
Yes.
Also, you have to go and admit it to someone that you don't know, probably don't trust, and who is probably not the friendliest of individuals in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
And then you
So-
have to relive this traumatic experience to that person.
Yeah.
Exactly. And in personal detail. And then if it goes to court, you've got to do that again in front of a jury of your peers.
And
Whilst
in front of
you have
a
a defending officer for the accused, tearing you apart and basically calling you a liar.
yeah.
Well, and then there's the fact that most, correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't most rapes carried out by people who know the
Yes.
victim?
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
I believe so, yeah.
So you're
33%, there's a 33% greater chance by people you know.
right.
And as Carlos,
So
the worst thing is the rape victim has to face their attacker. Again.
it's not like there's a bunch of people out there going around serial rapists. Basically, there's this. I mean, there are serial rapists, but there's not a lot compared to the number of people who are raped by people they know. It's just not even close to the same number at all. And so you've lost your self-control. You've lost your personal space. You've lost your trust. You're asked to trust somebody who you may not trust at all. In fact, they might be the person you would normally report it to.
Mhm.
And that's a scary thing too, because then you have to go over their head, and they can hold that control over you, saying, if you tell, I'll do something worse.
Yeah, and
Nice.
there's a lot of abuse of authority by people in positions of authority to do that kind of thing.
Most
Yeah.
why? Oh, we lost Ilya. You okay, Ilya?
Ilya, she left.
Yeah. I hope
She
we
might-
didn't trigger her.
I hope not too, because I love Ilya as far
I
as
love you too, Ilya.
being a fellow shill.
I
Oh,
would
she's
guess
coming
it was a
back.
connection
She's coming
issue,
back.
but
No, she got
If
knocked
you-
offline. Coming back.
yeah, I was going to say I'd guess it was a connection issue, but if not, yeah, sorry to bring all this up.
Yeah.
My thing from there is if your attacker is your husband or boyfriend, it's even harder to report because
You've got to end your relationship as well, basically.
yeah,
You're
gotta end
you're
your
destroying your life.
your whole life is being torn apart. There's this culture that women are supposed to give it up to their husbands. Even outside of religion. So
Yeah.
there's a thing like a lot of people will look at you and say, well, "What? How can you say no? You married them, or you're their girlfriend," and that's just bullshit. And yet, it was something that I put up with. I had all that, and I wasn't even religious at the time. I'm like, how does that happen? But it does because you do that, and I mean, even now, I mean, because of the situation that was around why it happened, I don't. I blame him for doing it, but I also understand that there was extenuating circumstances. But I never reported it. And
I didn't
stayed
report
with
mine.
him. Sorry?
I didn't report mine.
No. And, how, people go, oh, why wouldn't you report that? Well, he was my husband.
I don't want to
The social
compare-
shame of having to do that and having to deal with it and having to tell people was something I only dealt with after we split up and I had therapy. And at that point,
There
what's
does
the
seem
point?
to be an element, and I don't want to say this wrong. it's a lot harder to try and ignore it and move on
Yes.
if you report it. And that's not to say I think that's probably the wrong thing to do because it ends up coming back. But I do think at the time, I think that is something, because if you can forget about it at that point.
There's also what was I going to say? If you go up the chat a little bit, there's a thing that Orla put in the chat, which is I also think that we know of the male status drastically underrated because men are far less likely to talk about such things like they are when it comes to domestic situations.
And that's one thing I wanted to touch on about my project. My project was not directed to women to reach out to me. It was to anyone. And I have stories from men in our community who have reached out, who wanted to be a part of this project. So not every story that I was going to present and talk through was a woman-based story. I have men, and I've actually had men also reach out who were falsely accused and cleared. I was going to give a perspective of all sides in this project because I felt it was important to have that healthy dialogue. So
false accusations do happen. It happened to a friend of mine. He was accused of sexual assault because someone didn't like that he took time off work.
Well, my dad was accused of it, and I lost a lot of time with him, and then he was cleared from a DNA test result, and I still am pissed about that because I lost time with my dad.
I've had one very recently, just literally just come up, and I'm not telling you who. It's not me. Somebody reported, and the police turned up on the doorstep about 6 months ago, claiming that he had been raped by my uncle, about 40 years ago. And the details of I got the details of the interview, and it turned out we're pretty certain we know what happened. Okay, because it turned out there was someone abusing boys there. And he was up for a conviction charge. You can look it up in the paper, but he died just before it went through. So there's nothing there. But the point is, he worked there at the same time as my uncle, right? And we're fairly certain that it's this guy that's done it. The guy has definitely been raped, and it was this guy that did it. But because in his head he has replaced that person with my uncle, there's no convincing him otherwise.
Right.
Now, like I said, I've only got to take people's word for it, but I'm fairly convinced, based upon the other stories we now have, I've read the witness statements for the other people with this other guy, that's almost certainly what happened. But it's not going to change how this person feels.
No.
And technically, it's a false allegation, and it's horrible. I mean, my uncle dismisses it because it didn't. As far as he's concerned, it didn't happen. It'll go away. I'm not so sure he should be quite so blasé.
Cavalier? Yeah.
Say again?
Cavalier about it?
Yeah. But the problem is, you tend to be when you've done nothing wrong, right up until the point when it gets too far. But I still think that is society. It's really crappy, but society has to deal with where the most harm is. And as much as I would love to say it is an ideal that no one innocent goes to jail or no one innocent is punished of a crime, society on the whole needs to try and stop the perpetrators more.
I agree.
And none of these situations, and this is what they do, is they pick on the one guy or the two guys that might get prosecuted, neglecting the hundreds, thousands of guys that don't.
Yep.
That are guilty. And this is on being. I mean, this is from perspective of someone.
And I'd like to point out, it's not just guys. There are women who sexually abuse as well.
Yep.
I have experience of that, which I'd rather not go into detail about.
Fair enough, Badger.
Yeah, I have somewhat tangential experience. Like
Now,
Yeah.
sorry, I don't want to interrupt anyone.
No.
Oh, that's okay. Go, Badger.
Now, I don't want to make light of a very serious topic or detract from a discussion. But where did the sci-fi go?
Sorry.
Yeah,
We got mixed serious.
I would be happy to have a discussion actually on this at some point if
Yeah.
people want. If Ilio actually wants to do a stream before she does her other things, so we can sort of get a before she puts everything together for the people who are prepared to put their faces up and talk. I would be more than happy to be part of that if she wants to.
Yeah.
Isla,
Yes.
if you want anyone to read anything, I'll happily
Yes.
come on and read stuff. I wouldn't ask for my opinion on a proper stream
Yeah.
about it because I've got no experience other than people talking to me a lot. But I'm happy to read anything if you want stories read.
Well, I appreciate that very much. I am taking up a generous offer from a friend of mine who is going to help me finish compiling everything and putting it together, just because yesterday did kind of just knock the wind out of my sails. But I'm going to finish this project. I'm going to finish it.
I'm
And it's
glad.
going to be seen. People's voices are going to be heard. And that's all there is to it.
Brilliant.
But I'm going to drop out, actually. I just really wanted to come on because Dave was like, "Are you coming in?" So, hi, Dave.
Well, I may even start. We might go back to sci-fi for a little bit, and then I might wind it up because
Go
I really do need
ahead,
to get
but
some sleep at a point. Some
Much
point.
love to all of you.
Love you too. I'm glad you're feeling better.
Thank you. Bye.
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 All right. So, what did you want to talk about, Badger?
Right. Well, my usual go-to is how Disney Star Wars is awful. But
We're going to
I
be covering
kind of-
that in May.
yeah, I kind of... There were a couple of series that were brought up earlier that are very interesting.
Which
What
ones?
was a good example? Well, I brought up Blake 7.
yeah.
No one had mentioned that before.
Yeah, odd that. Because it's a really good show.
It's a really good show, but
So I keep hearing.
it's got season 1 Red Dwarf special effects.
No, it's worse than that. It actually really is worse. And there's another great show, Red Dwarf. I know it's comedy sci-fi, but
Well, comedy sci-fi is great.
I just love the cat walking through the thing goes, and this bit's mine, and this bit's mine, and this bit's mine.
Just
But
the
not
cat.
that bit. I don't
Just
like
the
that
cat.
bit.
Just the cat in general. The cat
Yeah.
in general is freaking fantastic.
You
It's the only
Can you
thing I
name
like.
any other character like that anywhere else?
When they're talking about the gravitational puller, what is it? It's this really long, drawn, complicated out thing. Yeah, but what is it? What is it? Well, why didn't you
Yeah,
just
it's a
say
giant
that?
hole.
Why didn't you just say that?
I just gotta go to the toilet, guys. I'll be right back. Should we have warned him? Are you all right, Cat? I don't want to talk about it.
So where's the cat?
Yeah.
He's in the bushes.
Yeah.
We've got to stop him.
That's right.
Just as well with the shovel.
Yeah. I think I figured out what happened to my back.
Or just the fact that the ship's been going in circles so long that the cat's evolved.
Yeah.
It's such a good show.
I love Lister's let's try again. I love Lister's first reaction to realizing that he has been frozen for 3 million years. It's just 3 million years. I've still got that library book.
And the joke.
Where is
about
everyone?
The Electric Light Company.
Why is it so dirty around it? What is all this stuff? That is catering officer Olaf Peterson.
That's right, because he tastes it, doesn't he?
He's like, I've been eating that half.
It's not cow's milk, it's dog's milk. It's better than cow's milk. It's full of
Well,
marijuana.
that's
Well,
not-
what's
That's the
so
amount
great about
Dog's
cows?
milk.
Lasts longer than any other milk. Why is that then? No, Bagger will drink it.
Well, Holly, why didn't you tell me? What, spoil your tea?
Tastes the same as when it's gone off as when it's fresh.
But yeah,
Given the fundamental
quite
nature of the
brilliant.
yes. Would you like some toast?
That's still my most popular tweet.
I highly for people who like comedic sci-fi, I highly recommend an author by the name of John Scalzi. If now there is one of his books that I put a huge asterisk on, and
Mhm.
Yeah.
whether or not you like meta humor, You know,
Meta
like-
humor
like
is very hit and miss for me.
yeah. So depending on how you feel about meta humor, I'd either suggest that you skip Red Shirts.
Uh,
And,
I've seen, yeah.
and-
I'll give you one example of meta humor that works for me.
yeah.
Is in Rick and Morty.
Oh, I love
When-
Rick and Morty.
They're all there doing something, and there's Rick and Morty there, and suddenly it's all gone wrong, and all the whatever scenario they're in, everyone there has just realized they're up to no good, and they've turned on them. Rick's pulled out his laser gun, and he just looks at the camera and goes, "Oh, we'll be right back," and it goes to the adverts. That's kind of the only meta humor that I can immediately think of that I was like, "Oh yeah, that's pretty good," because then immediately after that, it's back to not meta.
Yeah.
Well, it's really weird. The number of shows in America that do that we either end up showing on the BBC or
Yeah.
with different timed ad breaks.
We'll be right back now.
But see,
Who was the best colleague?
the premise of Red Shirts is the expendable crewman of a chip in a Star Trek clone realize they're the expendable crewman of a ship of a cheesy sci-fi show, and it gets really meta in the end. It gets really meta kind of in the middle. So
Mhm.
So are we going to answer Taddy's question? Who was the best Holly?
Oh, that is actually really difficult.
It is. I want to say the first, but
I want to say the first as well, but there are some great lines that the second one made, like the thing about space is it's black, and the thing about black holes is they're black.
yeah.
That's how you're supposed to see it.
But
But first Holly's like April, May, and June shape of the year. I couldn't save that one any longer.
No, I would say the first Holly is probably my favorite,
Yeah,
but
definitely the first one.
second Holly I have no complaints about in terms of taking over as Holly.
Oh, they all
so who's your
fine.
favourite Kachansky?
The first one.
oh, looks like Neil's read Red Shirts.
Yeah,
It's hilarious.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, they both work.
It's definitely the first one for me.
By the way, awooga, awooga. This is not a drill. Drrr, that's a drill. Awooga, red alert.
Step up to red alert. Are you absolutely sure, sir? It does mean changing the
Changing
bulb.
Oh, your guitar was made of camphor wood.
That episode is talked about over and over again as a pothole.
Oh, where's
You
the
can't
butthole?
smell. He can't smell.
Oh,
Wasn't
really?
he hard light by that point?
No.
Then there's Crichton trying to say Smeghead. Smee, you're a Smee.
It's a small offshoot of Checkers the Vacuum Traffic Warden.
Droid meets shape-changing alien. Droid wins shape-changing alien. It's the same old story. Dear.
But
What do
you
you
know,
mean?
for
She
those-
looks exactly
for those
like my
who
cousin. What? Did she in a major accident or something?
but for those who aren't as into meta humor, I'd suggest the Android's Dream. It's Barry Adams in fiction.
Me.
I do have some Douglas Adams quotes as I have like a cycling desktop background, and some of them are Douglas Adams quotes like, in the beginning, the universe was created. This has made a lot of people very angry and been widely regarded as a bad move.
Yeah.
I started writing a sci-fi novel years ago that it was going to be called The Sister in Aquarius, and it starts off, in the beginning there was nothing, and nothing was everything, until one day, out of sheer boredom, nothing got up and left. So yeah, that's nice. Yep.
Has the 6th episode of Rick and Morty aired yet?
I haven't seen any of the latest
I
season.
haven't seen it come up, so
I haven't caught up with it lately because I haven't been in there. I haven't had the energy to catch up with anything.
oh yes, don't forget your towel. Thank you, Tatty.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. And then God disappears in a puff of logic.
Logic. Now, talking good things. Have you guys watched the thing about Davros and the
therefore
Daleks?
you don't.
Have you guys watched the thing done in the style of the book from the original BBC TV series about Davros and the Daleks?
I have not.
No.
Look it up. It's on YouTube. It is done absolutely brilliantly. They got a voice actor to do who sounds like is it Terry Jones who did the book originally? Yeah, I can't remember.
I wonder what that big round thing is rushing up at me. I wonder if it will be friends.
It needs a big round.
Interestingly enough, the only thing that went through the mind of the bowl of
really
as
love-
it fell was, oh no, not again.
What I really love about that is that we learn why the potted plant thought, oh no, not again.
Yeah.
He's really pissed.
Yeah. That's part of one of the main reasons why I love the third book.
Yeah. It was Terry Jones, wasn't it?
I think so.
Sorry, I missed a bit then. What's going on?
We're all off searching.
Yeah, I don't know. Something about that character who keeps getting reincarnated just to get killed by just to get killed by
Yeah, it was. It was Terry Jones who played the book.
What's his name?
Arthur Dent.
Yeah, just to be killed by Arthur Dent.
Yeah.
Literally every incarnation has been killed by Arthur Dent.
Yeah. like he gets, he reincarnates as a rabbit, which Arthur Dent kills and eats and makes into a bag, and then he reincarnates as a fly, which gets crushed by the bag that was him and his ants.
Ants. He reincarnated as ants.
Hi, Tornado.
Yeah.
Okay, I posted it in the chat. That's the link that that web link is to The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Daleks.
Lord. To watch that later.
It is so
I'm
worth
gonna add that
it. It
to
only
my
goes
watch
for 4.5
laters as well.
minutes, but it is exactly like the book segments that had appeared in the BBC show, right down to how they did the graphics in it and the way the book does it, and it is hilarious. Yeah, Daleks run on static electricity and hate.
Add this to my watch laters.
Yeah, same here.
I'm amazed you lot haven't seen it before. Anyway, I might start winding up. So I don't know. Badger, you want to shout yourself out?
You always go to me first, don't you? And I'm here going,
well,
who am I?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I do it. I'm paying you back for stealing my tagline.
I didn't steal your tagline, did I?
Dave, I don't care.
Yeah, cool. It would be Dave, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Bad Temper Badger. I talk about stuff on the internet. Recently, it's been almost exclusively how Disney Star Wars is awful, but there are other topics as well. I sometimes even talk about non-fiction topics. Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Twitter, Gab, Minds, and Pornhub. Well, you probably can't actually find me on Pornhub, because when I tried searching for it not logged in as myself, it didn't work.
What did you search for?
I'm not telling you, Dave. Commenting on all my illicit playlists.
That's exactly what I want. And
Yeah,
Jen's phone.
I talk about stuff. That's kind of I have once I'm a bit more organized in what's going on in my life, I am having a semi-open invitation for people with an interesting personality and topic to come on my channel and discuss stuff.
Oh.
Oh, damn it. Well, I have to come.
Personality and topic.
Well, I don't have a topic, but I've got a semi-interesting personality, I think.
Well, because what happens what sometimes happens if you bring people on and it's just they're really interesting, but you haven't really thought of what to talk about. Is the first 20 minutes of the stream are just hello.
That sounds like this stream.
Nice to
actually.
have you on. So, how are those? Looks around the room. Backpacks. There's an apple on my desk. So, if you got a topic and you're fun, then there's a relatively open invitation to come on my channel and have a chat.
Okay.
Sounds like fun, Badgie. Count me in.
I will hopefully be having a discussion with Sassy later on.
Ooh.
But
Are you going to quiz her about finding her religion?
Probably not.
Oh.
Damn.
but
Okay.
Who's
Ooh,
next?
yeah, I'd be happy to drop by.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
That's what I forgot to do in my little random rant of things where you can find me. If anyone is interested in dropping in and they can't get hold of me on Twitter or whatever else, please feel free to drop me an email at my official email address of badger@cock.li.
I'd love that. I love your email address.
Now, that is a real email address. I arranged a debate with S.J. Thomason using it. She did not comment once.
Oh, I'm sure she appreciated it. Just to be
So, Bull, what are you up to?
cool. Me. Oh God, what am I up to? Well, let's
Everything.
see. The Pimp Monk show should be coming back. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be back this week. I don't know when he gets back from his trip. I thought it was going to be yesterday or today, but it's not.
How busy are you at the moment, Bull?
I'm doing the shows tonight. Yesterday I did Steve McRae's Caffeine Corner, and I'm still working on the Seventh Rule podcast to try to get them to let me produce for them.
Because there's a few of us here, well, everyone here would like to ask a favor of you at some point.
Y'all want to pick my brain?
No.
Pick your time, actually. We are planning on doing an Australia versus UK quiz night stream. But we'd
The
really
quiz
like
is on,
somebody who actually produce it so it comes off properly and we don't make a huge mess of it.
I can do one-off shows. I have no issue with that.
Yeah, these would be this is a one-off that we hope would eventually become like maybe a monthly thing where different countries take on each other over the year or whatever, but just as a bit of fun. But so to get lots of different creators together to have a bit of fun. But it doesn't necessarily have to be you who produces it every single time either. But just to get the first one going, would you be interested in helping us out if we give you plenty of heads up and everything?
Sure, give me a heads up, send me some assets. I'll put it together, let you know what I think.
Yeah, awesome. We've already got a quiz master.
Yeah, because Ring's going to be the quiz master. So
if you want a Brit who's specialist area,
we want you, Badger.
The Star Wars Expanded Universe, give me a shout.
And
I'm also
the real Expanded Universe, not.
Shut up, Badger.
The real Expanded Universe, yeah. I actually am looking forward to, hopefully in February, fingers crossed, the Non Sequitur show comes our way, and we can start that off again, too. So,
have you actually got control of the channel yet?
No, but see, here's the thing. Here's where I'm not holding my breath on it, because Kyle has not been cooperative in the slightest at all. Like he hasn't.
Someone actually heard from him.
He hasn't filed a fucking thing with the court. Has someone heard from him? Yeah, our pal Unirock has heard from him. So and Katie Joy Paulson has heard from him. But the court,
he did the disappearing act routine.
He did for a while, but then he decided to start using the Non Sequitur show channel to chat in Unirock's live chat, which is, by the way, a big no-no. It's a big no-no because that's under a cease and desist at this point. And it technically belongs to Steve McRae. He's just hasn't given it back to him because he's being a stubborn ass. So
couldn't Steve technically charge him with impersonation at this point?
Well, I don't know about impersonation, but defying a court order is definitely in the works. And what I think is going to end up happening is Steve's going to have to get a separate court order for YouTube to force transfer the channel back to him. And the same goes for all the other social media platforms, because all those accounts are associated with the show, not Kyle. So
technically Kyle would still be getting money from that too, wouldn't he, if anyone's watching all the episodes and stuff?
I think it'd be hard push to claim it.
Now? I don't think too many people are watching it. I've watched a couple episodes in little bits and pieces. I may have gotten one or two ads the whole time I've looked at it, but I've only looked at them to verify things. I don't watch them because I was there for 500 of them. So I don't know. What the fuck is wrong with Kyle? That's a very good question that no one seems to know the answer to.
So anything else, Bill?
Nope. That's it.
Okay. I'll do you last, Dave, because you've only really got to tell us about your Twitter. So, One Ring.
One Ring 42. I do. Well, a lot of you already know me because I've been on an awful lot of these days, an awful lot of these after shows recently. I think
we have done so. I think you and I have done so many shows together between your channel and my channel lately that it may actually equal more than I've done with Jay.
But
it's weird.
Today at 2:30 Mountain Standard Time, I'm premiering my Dungeons and Divinity video on Samson.
Yeah.
Sometime Jen and I will do our Dr. Doolittle media chat. We really need to come up with like a catchy name for those.
We do, and I think I'm going to spend some time putting some art together so that you've actually got thumbs when I get back.
Yeah,
I'll put some thumbs together for you because I don't know how many thumbs have you done for your videos.
The only ones like I've only like for my edited videos only since like December. And for the stream, for the streams, I've only done the Christmas. I've only made thumbnails for the Christmas stream and the Witcher stream.
Yeah, I'm doing it for this. I'm going to make up a general thing for just after show type streams where I can just dump something in that fits the topic, but it's not happening until I get back. Something I do have to ask you about though, Ring, because whilst I'm away for the next week and a half, and because people seem to like having this after show after Daily Atheist, and I'm probably not going to be able to do every single one of them. How would you like some after shows on your channel?
Oh, yeah.
Because that way I can drop in and be part of, but take off earlier.
The only ones like I do have a couple morning appointments coming up, so
that's okay. We can mix it in between us.
Yeah.
At the start of the show, she couldn't make after shows. No after shows. She was away.
Yeah.
I know. I said I wouldn't do them whilst I'm away, and I'm doing them
There's
anyway.
a relevant question in the chat, actually, from Hattie Vogel, who says, "Is there an after show?"
Yeah. And so
there it is.
Yeah. More of these media chats are going to be, in the pipeline. I've got a tentative guest list together for my talks on, for my stream on growing up in a media controlled household.
That's going to be a good stream.
But I'm still waiting to hear back on what scheduling would, what a good time and day would be. So, and then of course, on the 8th, we're doing
roasting Ken Ham.
Yeah, we're roasting Ken Ham, and then I'm going to be pretty much immediately jumping over to Neil's channel for a deconversion story. So
you're gonna have a busy day that day.
Yeah,
I don't think you're going to leave enough time to roast Ken Ham.
Well,
the roasting will continue on.
It's starting like a good 2 hours or so before deconversion story.
Yeah, and it'll probably continue into, so there'll be a bit of a crossover. So unfortunately,
so we have to pick.
If you find that your roasting of Ken Ham hasn't quite covered everything, I can point you to a couple of videos on my channel which are collaborations with Natcha Witness.
Yeah,
I reckon Natcha Witness will be there.
Yeah, Natcha will be there. He's part of it.
Yeah,
collaborations.
And anyone who wants to be part of that to jump in and out, because there'll only be 6 people in the chat at any one time. But if anyone wants to be part of it and jump in and talk for a while, hit one of us up, ring myself, Atheist Pastor, and we'll get you involved.
But I know for my clip, I'm gonna do a bit of a sarcastic toast.
Now come on for 2.5 minutes and just scream.
Anything else you got on Ring?
No, I think I've covered it. I think my next week's video is gonna be on how Focus is kind of gonna be kind of an overview on how Focus on the Family is basically the propaganda, the unofficial propaganda arm of the evangelical movement. and depending on how that video is, I might go in depth into things that they've produced that are blatantly, propaganda.
Cool. Awesome.
And then after that, like the week after that, I'm probably going to do the blasphemy and comedy video.
Oh yeah, you got some good topics coming up.
Oh yeah,
Awesome.
that's the thing. That's the thing about making myself, by branding myself as the atheist culture guy, is there's a lot of unexplored topics because everyone goes science or philosophy. Everyone either goes science, politics, or philosophy. So making myself the art and culture guy, there's a wide, vast array of things to cover.
That's good.
Yeah.
Dave.
Already. Follow me on Twitter, Critical Cripple.
Yeah.
Watch me shout at people. And if you want, you can follow me on YouTube, and I might actually make a video one day.
Keep track
always
of
come
Dave
on my channel
because
sometime,
he
Dave.
shouts everybody else out if you want to know what everyone else is doing, follow Dave. 'Cause
Yeah.
he always knows. He's always first on everyone's videos with a wolf. Well, mostly always first. Not always.
And if you want to get your stuff blasted out, be sure to tag him.
Yeah. And he's always appearing in other people's streams. So if you want to catch him, follow him. He'll let you know when he's going to be on, and you'll be able to see him because Dave's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So
Just
anyway,
come on my
guys,
channel sometimes. Also, invite Neil.
yeah.
Party! Badger, come to
Anyway.
DaveCon.
Thanks everyone for joining us. This has been an awesome little stream, and I know it's little compared to the other ones I've done, but I'm really tired. It's midnight here, so. Anyone want to say their catchphrase?
Remember, indoctrination is a hell of a drug.
You don't have one, do you, Badger?
It is Cull the Badgers.
Oi. Let me sort you out. No, I sort of do. I'll do it in a minute.
All right.
Go around the others first.
Oh, well, I'll let you end with it, Badger. Then, Bull, do you have one?
I don't actually have a catchphrase, so
I know Dave doesn't.
No, I haven't got one. I've got the one I use most commonly now.
What's
As in,
that?
I've used it once.
Yeah, mine. Mine, by the way, is try not to choke on the selfie stick. And Badger, end in yours.
Yeah, so mine just seems to be, bye.
Bye, everyone.
And